Cannabis Common Sense, the show that tells the truth about marijuana and the politics behind its prohibition.
Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Cannabis Common Sense. Our show is a production of our non-profit organization, the Hemp and Cannabis Foundation, and its affiliated political committee, the Campaign for the Restoration and Regulation of Hemp, which is also known as CRRH, and the Hemp and Cannabis Foundation is THCF. Anyway, we have an exciting show for you tonight. We're happy to say that Dr. Thomas Orvald is here, and we'll be taking calls here in just a little bit, as is Don Dupay. We have Tim Pate to provide musical accompaniment with us on occasion here, and he'll be playing momentarily. We have a clip from the George Cervantes video called Grow, about growing medicinal cannabis. We have a few show and tell items for you. It is April 20th, which among some cannabis aficionados is a holiday, so we're celebrating that. And we're also celebrating show 401. So we're almost to show 420 ourselves. We'll be starting up with just a little bit of hemp news. We have a couple exciting medical developments here to tell you about, and as usual, before that, let's bring out the dancing cannabis leaves. All right, our first story tonight comes from Los Angeles and says that cannabis's active ingredient halts lung cancer growth, according to a new study. The administration of THC, or tetrahydrocannabinol, significantly reduces lung tumor size and lesions, according to preclinical data presented this week at the annual meeting of the American Association for Cancer Research, or the AACR, in Los Angeles, California. Investigators at Harvard University's Division of Experimental Medicine reported that THC inhibited the growth and spread of cells in vitro from 2 different lung cancer cell lines and from patient lung tumors. They also reported that THC administration reduced the growth of lung tumors in mice by more than 50% compared to untreated controls over a 3-week period. The researchers noted that THC appeared to block a specific cancer-causing protein in a manner similar to the pharmaceutical anti-cancer drug Erbitux, or Seduzabab, or something like that, and Victabiz, which is another long, fancy name. The results of a large-scale case-controlled population study published last year found that smoking cannabis, even long-term, is not positively associated with increased incidence of lung cancer. The investigators in that study noted that one subset of moderate lifetime users had an inverse association between cannabis use and lung cancer, leading them to speculate that cannabinoids may possess certain protective properties against the development of lung cancer in humans. Separate preclinical studies indicate that compounds in marijuana inhibit cancer cell growth in animals and in culture on a wide range of tumoral cell lines, including human breast carcinoma cells, human prostate carcinoma cells, and human colorectal carcinoma cells, among others. Most recently, investigators at Madrid's Complutense University School of Biology reported in the British Journal of Cancer that THC administration decreases recurrent glioblastoma multiforme, or brain tumor growth, in patients diagnosed with that disease. You can see the paper, Cannabinoids as Cancer Hope, and that's available online at normal.org. Our next story is about a smokeless cannabis delivery system. Our vaporizers are found to be safe and effective, according to a new study from San Francisco. Vaporization is a safe and effective cannabinoid delivery mode for patients who desire the rapid onset of action associated with inhalation while avoiding the respiratory risks of smoking, according to clinical trial data to be published in the journal Clinical Pharmacology and Therapeutics. Investigators at San Francisco's General Hospital reported that the use of the Volcano vaporizing device delivered efficient doses of THC to subjects in a reproducible manner, while significantly reducing their intake of gaseous combustion toxins, including carbon monoxide. 18 subjects participated in the 6-day study, which was sponsored by the state of California and the Center for Medicinal Cannabis Research. The authors concluded, quote, vaporization of marijuana does not result in exposure of combustion gases and was preferred by most subjects compared to marijuana cigarettes. The Volcano Vaporizer device is an efficient and apparently safe vehicle for THC delivery and warrants further investigation in clinical trials of cannabis for medicinal purposes, end quote. The researchers reported that vaporization resulted in higher plasma concentrations of THC compared to smoked cannabis for up to 60 minutes following inhalation. The investigators also reported that subjects self-titrated or limited their intake of cannabis vapor, taking smaller and less frequent puffs when exposed to stronger marijuana. On average, the Volcano Vaporizer exposed subjects to 54% of the applied dose of THC. Previous studies have shown that as much as 80% of the THC burned in cigarettes or water pipes is lost in slipstream smoke or in the burning process. A prior clinical trial assessing the safety and efficacy of the Volcano Vaporizer, published in the 2006 Journal of Pharmaceutical Sciences, also reported that the device delivers set doses of THC to subjects in a reproducible manner while avoiding the respiratory disadvantages of smoking. The efficacy of the Volcano Vaporizer was initially reported in a 2004 study co-sponsored by the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws and the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies, that's NORML and MAPS, which found that the devices delivered vapor of high purity with practically no toxic tars or hydrocarbon or carbon monoxide. The vaporization heats cannabis to a temperature where active cannabinoid vapors form, typically around 180 to 170 degrees Celsius, or 360 to 390 degrees Fahrenheit, but below the point of combustion where noxious smoke and associated toxins or carcinogenic hydrocarbons are produced, which is above 230 degrees Celsius, or about 450 degrees Fahrenheit. Separate survey data published this week in the Harm Reduction Journal also reports that vaporization is subjectively associated with fewer respiratory symptoms than smoking cannabis. The abstracts of this study, Vaporization as a Smokeless Cannabis Delivery System, a pilot study, are available online at www.galenicom, or GALENICOM.com. That's GALENICOM.com. And abstracts of the study decreased respiratory symptoms in cannabis users who vaporize are available online at www.harmreductionjournal.com. That's the end of our Hemp News segment tonight. We're going to have Mr. Tim Pate deliver some music to us while we get ready for the next set. We'll be taking your calls. Dr. Orvald, Don Dupay, and myself will be taking calls in just a moment. How are you doing this evening, Tim?
I'm doing really good. Happy 420 to you.
Happy 420 to you. It's been a pretty exciting week. We got to go up and see Willie Nelson on Monday. That was pretty exciting.
I've never been backstage in the green room at Fillmore West before.
I've never even been in the Fillmore West.
That was a really superior evening.
We'll have to talk more about that later.
We will.
You have a tune for us tonight?
I do. It's 420, so I figure I'd break out a hemp tune.
Hey, that makes sense to me.
Me too. Well, let's all be fun.
all before. Thank you, Tim. It's a good one. Well, I'd like to welcome you back to the show, Dr. Orvald. It's been a little while since you've come on. How are you doing?
I'm fine, Paul. It's nice to be here with you and Donald once again.
Yeah. How are you doing, Don?
It's been a week, Paul, but we're here.
Yeah, another busy week. We are live here on Friday, 4/20, or April 20th, and if you're watching on April 20th, 2007, then give us a call at 503-288-4448. We'll be taking your live phone calls here in the Portland area. Once again, that's April 20th, 2007. There won't be another April 20th on a Friday until 2012. So we've got 5 more years before this kind of cannabis semi-holiday falls on this date once again.
Paul, tell me about the significance of this. Why do we celebrate it on this particular day?
Well, you know, a lot of folks say it had to do with the police code in Los Angeles, but that's a myth. It doesn't really have to do with that, and I'm not exactly sure. You know, it kind of came out of this culture. High Times magazine promoted it in the late 1980s and early 1990s. It continues to do so today. And High Times magazine is one of the largest magazine that caters to cannabis users. So they kind of developed this idea that at the time 420, marijuana smokers would get together and partake. And I never really liked that. You know, back in 1999, we were kicking off a campaign, an initiative campaign that failed to make the ballot, but it was to end adult marijuana prohibition, restore industrial hemp, and help medical patients. Just what our foundation and our nonprofit are in favor of doing. And we decided to have our news conference on April 20th because it was the day that was kind of a celebration. Well, we didn't get any news that day because Columbine's high school massacre happened on the very same day. So we didn't get any. And that's when I found out it's also Hitler's birthday, and so I have mixed feelings. I don't like Hitler at all. I'm anti-Hitler, and so having something about, I consider cannabis sacred to me. To have something like that on that day seems sacrilegious, if anything else. But anyway, we have a caller. Hi, caller.
Hello there. How are you today? Happy 420 to y'all.
Well, thank you. How are you?
I am well. I'm
Great.
a happy card holder, I have to say.
Congratulations.
And I have a something that maybe people should think about. It's been said, of course, by the professionals that smoking cannabis makes people forgetful.
Yes.
Well,
short-term memory loss.
Exactly. But maybe we should consider the possibility that forgetting is actually a positive attribute.
Well, you know, the Israeli army uses cannabis for soldiers who have post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, because it helps them forget the terrible things they've seen are done in war.
Absolutely. You see, especially in our evolution, forgetting unfortunate and unpleasant events maybe made our ancestors more intrepid and dauntless.
Exactly, and that's what cannabis does in the neurological system. It kind of goes retrograde to the regular signal. It's the one receptor that goes against the flow of everything else, and it kind of weeds out the unused neural connections, too.
Exactly. Yeah, so, you know, it's funny, forgetting, you know, people think forgetting is a negative thing, but sometimes in some certain instances it can be good, especially in today when we have, you know, evilry and trickery afoot in the land, you know.
And in the White House.
Yeah, exactly. Hear, hear. And furthermore, you know, it opens our eyes to the beauties of life, so I think there's a lot of good to be said. Yeah,
you need to let go of the negative and focus on the positive. That's always the healthiest and the best thing to do, and I think cannabis can assist in that.
Absolutely. You guys have a wonderful time, and take care, and power to us all.
Thank you.
So long.
Thanks for your call. It's a great phone call there. How are you doing this week, Don?
Pretty good, Paul. Pretty good.
Good. I know, Dr. Orvald, you've been busy. Running across the land, helping patients all over.
We have, Paul. The clinics seem to be growing faster than we can accommodate our travel.
Yeah.
We just got back from Denver, Colorado, where we had enormous clinics, and now we head to Hilo and Honolulu tomorrow.
Yeah,
So
and we have more enormous clinics.
The whole thing is escalating.
It's true.
And that's
it
good.
seems it continues to grow at about 50% a year, I think. You know, there's a large number of people who don't renew, but there are new people coming in that just keep a constant growth. I read a thing on the Colorado medical marijuana website that talked about how 56% of the people renew their cards. And they've had a 50% growth in the past year, and I think, you know, you and I owe something to that. And we do. This show runs in Denver, Colorado every Tuesday and Thursday night on cable channel 57 at 11 p.m. So there. If you're out there here in the Portland area, where we're live every Friday night at 8 p.m. on cable channel 11, then you can call us at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. And so we have some fancy show and tell items out here this evening for our celebration. Well, let's start over here with the new nutritious hemp milk, which is very, very tasty. It comes in plain, vanilla, and chocolate. I don't have any plain here to show. It's actually distributed from here in Portland, Oregon, but it's made up in Vancouver, British Columbia, or up in the British Columbia, Vancouver area anyway. So this is really a tasty, new, very nutritious item out there that has all the omega-6 and 3 that most of our diets are lacking. So that's something to look at. Next over, we have a Park Davis bottle. And this is a pint bottle of cannabis tincture, one of the half-dozen Park Davis cannabis. You can see cannabis right there products. Then right here is the pride of the THCF medical collection. This is our oldest medicinal cannabis bottle from the 1840s from London. And cannabis was introduced into British pharmacology in 1839 by William O'Shaughnessy, a Scotsman, who brought it back from India. And he called it Cannabis indica. And so here's one of the early bottles that they used to store it in. And it's a real big bottle. I'd say that's holds a gallon or so. It's big. 1840, our oldest bottle. Next door, we have a 1880 cannabis tincture bottle from here in North America. They call these things lugs, or label under glass, because they put the label under the glass and then put glass on top of it. And that's one of the terms for these type of apothecary bottles, a lug bottle. It's got a nifty little cap, and you'd see that in your pharmacist. And then this one here, the last one that we'll bother you with tonight, is a reproduction that was done by the British Pharmacological Society in 1972, and it's a reproduction of a turn-of-the-century bottle that's prettier than any one I've ever seen anywhere else. But
Paul, it looks like Chanel perfume to me.
it does, but it says tincture of cannabis indica in this nifty, bold gold thing, and it also has the British Pharmacological Society's crest. See? Right here? Oh, the camera's gone. The British Pharmacological Society's crest right there. And they did that in the 70s, you know, so somebody there was smoking something, I think. We have another phone call. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hello?
Hello, caller.
No caller.
Oh, no caller. Well, we won't say hello then. So, I would say that roughly 80% of our patients who come through our clinics have chronic pain as one of their conditions. And the majority of those are probably degenerative disc disease in the back. Well, that caller's gone through now. We do have a caller. Hello, caller. You're on the show. We'll try this again. Hello, caller. Are you there? Hello. Well, we'll just keep going. We're live. This isn't Memorex. So, you know, chronic pain is the largest condition, but also they have muscle spasms and multiple sclerosis as one of the things that causes chronic muscle spasm. Seizure disorders like epilepsy and other things that cause seizures, that's a qualifying condition. And cancer, AIDS, asthma causes severe muscle spasms. I think that's something that you use it for, don't you, Tim?
That's right.
And you found that really, really helpful for you.
It is helpful. It does make a difference.
Yeah. So it's out there, and if any of you need help in finding someone who can help you, like the esteemed doctor here, we'll give you that information just a little bit. But first, we're going to try a caller again. Okay.
Hi, guys. This is Deborah. How you doing?
Very well. How are you, Deborah?
Good. I was wondering about Hempstalk. Do I understand that we're maybe not going to be doing it this year?
Well, we're definitely going to be doing it. I'm glad you gave us a call. We're definitely going to be doing it. 100% going to do it. But the question is, the Parks Department of the City of Portland says that they aren't going to renew our permit. So we have to go to the City Council.
Great.
So we want to urge everybody to call the Portland City Council members. And we're going to go to the City Council on Wednesday, May 9th at 9:30 a.m. on the second floor of City Hall right here in Portland.
Great. We'll be joining you.
Okay, and we have a list of phone numbers at our office of all the City Council members, too. I should have that here, but I don't.
Great to see the doctor on the show tonight, too.
Yeah, it's great to have him back.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But we want everybody to contact the City Council and come on down and show support at the City Council's office. That's on Wednesday, May 9th at 9:30 a.m. 5 of us will be presenting. Some other folks might get a chance. Each of us are only given 3 minutes to make our case there. But the City Parks Department and an aide to Councilman Dan Saltzman told me that the Drug Enforcement Administration, or the DEA, had sent DEA agents into the city, his office, into Commissioner Saltzman's park official office, and told them not to let us have this Hempstalk Festival. So there's federal pressure here afoot on the City Council and the Parks Department, and we need to get citizen pressure to overcome federal pressure.
Well, absolutely. It was such a peaceful event, and it was just a quiet day for the police.
I know. Well,
sure.
I went into a meeting with the fellow who answers our phones there, Andrew, and there were 7 members of the Parks Department and a Portland police officer there to tell there were so many problems at the last Hempstalk Festival, so many problems, that they weren't going to let us have it again.
Not quite to the contrary.
We didn't hear about any of those problems until a week before this meeting, when they first told us that, they said recommending against renewing the permit. But we certainly encourage everyone here to contact your city commissioners right here in Portland and urge them to overturn that. If the City Council and Mayor, we need to contact the Mayor too, Tom Potter.
Okay.
And Tom Potter is in control of the police department here in Portland City government. And so we need to call him and the city commissioners and urge them to let Hempstalk go forward. Now the dates for that are August 8th and 9th. That's Saturday and Sunday, August 8th and 9th. And at this point we know
September 8th and 9th.
Yeah, September. Excuse me. Bad memory. September 8th and 9th. That's September. And so it's Saturday and Sunday, though. That much I got right.
Great.
And the numbers. But it's September 8th and 9th. And so we have Tommy Chong currently lined up. We have a great new band called Human. And the wonderful bands that played last year, like Seventh Seal and Tim Pate, of course, opens all of these things here. And other people, they'll all be there. Big Bill Morganfield and Frame of Mind, they were pretty hot.
Yes,
and State of Jefferson, that's another good one out there. So stay tuned.
Well, I appreciate your time, and I'll let another caller come in.
All right, thank you. Thanks for bringing that up. That's
all right, Don,
good.
we're going to have a documentary from you tonight?
Oh, I think so, yeah.
Okay. Good to see you back on, Doctor.
Thank you.
Have a good night, Paul.
Thank you. If you're out there and you want to give us a call to ask a question of Dr. Orvald, Don Dupay, or myself, or even Tim Pate over here, then call us at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. We'll be taking your calls right up to the top of the hour. So there you go. Yeah, this city council thing kind of upset me. I was surprised. You weren't at the event last year, Doctor, but Don, you were, and they said there were kids drinking alcohol. Well, they weren't in our event. They were down by the river outside of our event, but still we're blamed for that. And, I bet they have more marijuana arrests there on your average weekend than they had on the day we were out there. And the other thing is we're there protesting the marijuana laws for goodness sake, So I don't think, some person that might have lit up in protest, and I didn't see much of that, would be a candidate, because we're there, opposing marijuana laws, and we're for ending marijuana prohibition, adult marijuana prohibition, and regulating hemp. Now, we threw a couple people out who were selling marijuana on our own, but they said they arrested a few other people. And, everybody in Portland knows that they go down to the waterfront park to buy pot anyway, in small quantities that's overpriced and sub-quality, but the people who don't know any place else to go down there to find
The only
people.
trouble we had was those park rangers we threw out of there.
Yeah, they wanted to get into the medication tent.
Yeah.
That's another thing. They didn't like the medication tent. We actually have a letter from the city in 2001 saying if we create a private area that it's okay for them to use marijuana there. But now they're saying that it isn't okay anymore. It was okay in 2001, according to the city, but now in 2006 and 2007, it's not okay anymore. So we've got to bring that to their attention.
The
I
feds
wasn't
are
ready
starting
with that
pressures.
information when we were in the dragon's den, so to speak, when Andrew and I walked there to the city council. We have another caller. Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a question. My caretaker got busted.
That's bad. Why?
Well,
Did he have too much? Had he been selling it? How did he get busted? Or do you know?
I don't know exactly how he got busted, but the problem is I was supposed to for my medicine.
Uh-huh.
And
Well, you have to either get a new caregiver, start growing it yourself, and turn your TV off so we don't get that feedback. And but you need to get a caregiver and either grow it yourself or name someone else. And you can go to the monthly Oregon Normal meetings, and there are other options out there. There are caregivers who can help you. There are several organizations that help organize them out there. And so you just have to connect with those and find another caregiver or decide to grow it yourself. And in the interim, you just have to get it from whatever sources are available to you, outside of these public sources that we're happy to steer you toward.
Oh, okay. I had another question, too.
Okay.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Never mind. Thank you.
All right. Have a good evening. Well, she looks a little confused, but, that's okay. You don't get on television all the time. I know the first time I got on television or radio, I was shaking and sweating. And it's a little disconcerting. But now that we've done 401 shows, I'm an old hat.
We're veterans, Paul.
That's right. That's right. So, Dr. Orvald, you've been very busy up in Washington, too. Things have been growing up there.
We have our clinic in Bellevue continues to flourish, and we have an excellent group of people that run the clinic, very self-effacing people, very sensitive people, and we're anxious to continue to grow. We expect that the quality of the service that we render in Bellevue will continue to be exceptionally fine. So we're proud of it.
And we're proud of you, Doctor. Dr. Orvald here got to meet Albert Einstein and Robert Oppenheimer back when he was doing lawn care and gardening for them while he was attending Princeton, working his way through Princeton University. He broke Donald Rumsfeld's nose when Rummy kicked his basketball.
Yeah. Right on.
Donald Rumsfeld was in the gym there at Princeton and kicked Dr. Orvald's basketball across the gym, and he went up to him and said, "Why'd you do that?" And Rummy told him something very, very rude, an obscene thing, and Rummy got his nose broke. Anyway.
Paul, you promised you'd never tell that story.
That's a wonderful story. I have to tell that story. But that's not all. Then, while he was going through medical school, later in his academic career, he had the pleasure of playing with the Philadelphia Warriors in the NBA. And his last year with the Philadelphia Warriors was Wilt Chamberlain's first year. And, Wilt the Stilt is still a legend today in several regards.
I had the good fortune to play with Wilt in Hershey, Pennsylvania, when he scored 100 points. And Wilt was an extraordinary person in many ways, of which I can tell you some things and I can not tell you some things. But Wilt was a 7'3" athlete. And he ran the 220, the 440, he high jumped, he shot put. And I can remember when he would stick jumpers from way outside. After a while, Eddie Gottlieb said, "You got to put weight on because you're too skinny." So they sent him up to the Catskills with a dietitian, and he came back at 275 after that summer. Well, we didn't push him anymore after that.
That makes sense to me. Another thing I'll sing your praises even more is that he trained with Dr. Michael DeBakey at Baylor Medical College, and DeBakey is a pioneer in heart transplants, and he has done over 3,000 open heart surgeries. How many heart transplants?
25 heart transplants and closer to 4,000.
Closer to 4,000 open heart surgeries.
Heart surgeries.
Yeah.
And the biggest thrill, I think, in my life was to walk from one room after I had taken out a small heart from a child who was brain dead, but the heart was still functional, and I brought the heart into the next room in my hands and put it in the chest of a child who needed that heart transplant. And after we connected the appropriate structures, we opened the clamps, and this little heart, little teeny heart, started to squeeze, started to shake like that. And I will never, to this day, ever forget when it picked up and started to beat, and that child had a new heart.
That is a great story.
Few men can say
Doctor,
that.
we wanted to thank you for helping so many people. You continue to help thousands of people every month, hundreds every week, and it's a wonderful thing, and we're very grateful for that. Many patients out there with chronic pain, multiple sclerosis, all these terrible diseases that we see are receiving benefits, and they're all very grateful. And we have a film clip we're going to run now that is from George Cervantes' new Grow video about growing medicinal cannabis. We're going to show a segment on harvest and curing, which is a good segment to look at here on April 20th. It's a little ways away from that. And so here is George Cervantes' Grow video.
Reddish brown.
Yeah, I fucking hate harvesting. I like planting the things and watering them and looking after them, talking to them. I don't like fucking harvesting.
You like smoking them, don't you?
I like smoking them.
A bountiful harvest is the payoff for all the research, work, risk, and investment you put into your grow room, not to mention the long, patient wait. A well-organized harvest is essential to ensure the highest quality cannabis.
The best way to tell when one of these buds is ripe is to look at the resin glands. The resin glands tell a story.
Get a close-up look at resin glands. Use a 10-power magnifying glass, jeweler's loupe, or a 20 to 50-power handheld microscope. Resin gland development will be in one of 3 stages: clear, milky white, and amber. The best time to harvest Sinsemilla is when THC production is peaked, but not yet started the degradation process. Sinsemilla flowers are mature 6 to 12 weeks after the photoperiod has been changed to 12 hours. Established indoor varieties tend to go through 4 to 5 weeks of rapid bud formation before growth levels off. Peak harvest takes place 1 to 3 weeks after growth slows. Avoid the taste of organic or chemical fertilizers in harvested buds by flushing with plain water or a clearing solution 7 to 10 days before harvesting. Do not water for a day or two before harvest. The soil should be fairly dry, but not dry enough so plants wilt. This will speed drying time by a day or more and not affect the quality of the end product. And most importantly, plan in advance where you will securely dry all that bud before you cut it.
Well, there's these guys sleeping right over there. I don't know who they are, but I want to keep it quiet. So here's the deal. We're going to harvest now. Get down here so we can see this, because what I'm doing is I'm going to just take these simple scissors and cut this baby at the base. It'll be a little bit hacking, but not bad, especially if I bend it and hack it. Here we go. Now, we're going to take this bud, this beautiful bud of Love Potion #1, over to the trimming teepee and put some nimble fingers to work.
Proper handling is the key to retaining THC potency after harvest. Prolonged exposure to light, temperatures above 80 degrees, friction from fondling hands, and damp, humid conditions should be avoided. THC exists only in the leaves, flowers, and glandular trichomes, lovingly referred to as resin glands or simply trichomes.
All right, boys. Time for the final test.
Ricky! Oh my God! There, get up! Oh my God, boys! How was it?
Ooh. Okay, I know that's George Cervantes' Grow video, and he had those guys on there that we Americans won't know who those are famous people up in Canada. They're television stars on the CBC up in Canada. They're called the Trailer Park Boys. And they were kind of acting like Trailer Park Boys, weren't they? Yeah, they were. That was kind of stupid the way he lit that flower up. But it was a little bit funny, too. We have a caller who's been standing by. Hello, caller? Are you there? Oh, maybe they hung up. I thought I heard that little beep, beep, beep. Well, if you want to call us, call us. If it's April 20th, 2007, you can call us at 503-288-4448. Don, you have an editorial for us tonight, don't you?
I do, Paul. I'm going to kind of get off the subject of marijuana tonight because very significantly in today's paper, the Oregon State Legislature made civil unions finally legal in the state. And I've always been champions of the gay people, and I wrote this editorial back in 2005, and I'm going to read it again tonight. It's called Odd Man Out. In our world of rich cultural, ethnic, and yes, sexual diversity, we do not rejoice in it, folks. We punish it. We play the child's game, odd man out. If you're black in a white society, you're odd, and you're out. If you're Protestant in a Catholic society, you're odd, and you're out. If you're gay, or bisexual, or transsexual in a straight society, you're odd, and you're out. Why are we so intolerant of those that are not like us? And just who is us anyway? There have been people sexually different from the rest as far back as history records itself. Homosexuality is not going to go away because humans that are born sexually different are born every day. Could it be that maybe, just maybe, something that happens day after day, year after year, is normal, more normal than we think? No, it's easier to convince ourselves that God keeps making the same stupid mistake over and over again. Oops, I created another man that should have been a woman. Oh well, stupid me. Trying to change something that cannot change questions the credibility of our intelligence. Perhaps we humans simply don't understand God's grand scheme of things. So in our frail ignorance, we punish the gay, the lesbian, the bisexual by treating them as lesser citizens. We legislate against them, we punish them, we harass them, odd man or woman out. It makes me sad that people use the mantle of Christendom to persecute. There's so much crap done in the name of God. Gays don't need special rights, we've heard. They already have equal rights under the Constitution. On paper, perhaps, but not in fact. Can gays marry? No, not yet. Can gays adopt children easily? Well, it's getting easier now. Can gays inherit their partner's property? They can now. Equal rights for gays, though, is a joke. Thousands have been discharged from the military for simply being who they are. What is this that frightens us about gays anyway? Have you ever seen a carload of gays with baseball bats cruising around to beat up on straight people? Have you ever seen a gay man jump out of the bushes to rape a straight man? Do we really have something to fear from gays? Or is it our own insecurity, our own irrational fear of those who are different? I have both gay friends and family, and I'm struck not how by different they are, but how normal they are. They want what we all want: money, sex, success, family, children, and most of all, equality. And what does sexual orientation have to do with any of that anyway? If you're wondering, am I gay? No, I'm not. But I'm compelled to speak out for equal rights for all citizens. If the Constitution doesn't work for the lesbian, the prostitute, or me, the activist, then it won't work for you either. Our Constitution, what's left of it, is prime importance. And it's better than 10 O.J. Simpsons go free than one innocent person be convicted and imprisoned. It's a lesson I learned as a street cop. That's the way I see it tonight, right down here on Hemp Street.
That was a great editorial, Don. Thank you. Hear, hear. We have a caller. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Yes, I got a question for you. Can you give me any kind of information about the recent rulings from Multnomah County on somebody that is on probation, post-prison, or parole, and the use of the medical marijuana card, and maybe also information part about that with the new Senate bill that's been introduced?
In Multnomah County, as long as you're you should check with your probation or parole officer, first of all, and tell them that you have a medical marijuana card. You don't have to get their okay to get a medical marijuana card, but once you have it, you should tell them and then give them time to respond. And if they tell you you can't use medical marijuana at that point, then you should go to the judge who puts you on probation and try to get them to change that condition of your probation to one that will allow you to use medical marijuana. Some patients go ahead and use medical marijuana anyway. Here in Multnomah County, you're pretty safe. In other counties, that might mean you get put in jail and go before the judge that way. That's why I think it's wise to approach them after you have the card and tell them that you want to use medical marijuana and now you're a card holder, and then get their okay. And if they don't give you their okay, then go to the next step and go to their supervisor, and then go to the judge who puts you on probation or parole. And that's the way to approach that. In terms of the laws in Oregon changing in the legislature right now, nothing has gone through with any certainty. It looks like Senate Bill 767 that would have established a medical marijuana dispensary run by the state, that is currently stalled in committee, in Senator Morissette's committee, who introduced that bill, and the Attorney General of the state of Oregon is opposing that. And so we urge you to contact the Attorney General of the state of Oregon, that's Hardy Myers, and urge him to withdraw his opposition to Senate Bill 767. Then you want to call people in the Oregon Senate and tell them that you support that. Then there are some other bills out there, one of them that would limit caregivers to 4 patients. They could only take care of 4 patients. That one looks like it has support and legs, as they say, but we need to call and oppose those bills. You can check Oregon Normal's website for an update on all that legislation if you have access to the internet. Russ Belville, who starts tomorrow nationally on Air America, he won a talent search contest for Air America, and it's a new host, and he'll have a show every Saturday night on the Air America stations. Here in Portland, the Air America affiliate is KPOJ 620. Anyway, he's going to be he produces he updates that Oregon Normal website with all the state laws. And in Washington, we urge people to call their legislators and the governor and support Senate Bill 6032, which would help protect patients who are currently being persecuted up in Washington State. So in Washington State, we urge you to contact your legislators to support Senate Bill 6032. So I hope that helped. You know, also tonight on April 20th, there is a event going on at the Baghdad. So if you're watching the show and you want to go out, go down to the Baghdad Theater at 37th or 36th and Southeast Hawthorne, and Mary Jane's House of Glass is having a 420 comedy show, and so there'll be busy there till after midnight, I'm sure. So go on down to the Baghdad Theater if you want to have a little laugh on cannabis and cannabis use and support the community. That's a benefit for Oregon NORML as well. And so there's
Paul,
that.
I'd just like to speak to the fact about Hardy Meyer. The hope was that he would defend us against the federal government if it ever came to that. And Hardy Meyer is obviously a reluctant attorney. And you and I both know we don't want to go into court with a reluctant attorney.
No, not at all.
He's a reluctant attorney, so that will never happen. He's not going to do it.
Let's see. Okay, well, we have a caller. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hello.
Hello, caller.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Mike. Say, I've got a question.
Hey, Mike.
I'm a cardiac patient, and I also have gout. And I was wondering if there might be any benefits from cannabis for my pain for my gout. I've had a triple bypass in the past, and recently had 2 stents put in. And I was wondering if there was any problems with me using cannabis. I've smoked cannabis in the past, and I haven't for a long time, but nothing really seems to give me any relief from my chronic pain from my gout.
Okay, let me address that. For chronic pain, eating cannabis is the best way to take cannabis. And given that you have a history of cardiac problems, there are contraindications for smoking. The presence of carbon monoxide in smoke accelerates atherosclerosis, or the hardening of the arteries. And so it scars the walls of the arteries, and that leads to plaque buildup. And so smoking is not recommended for people who have cardiac problems. But vaporization doesn't have any of the negative side effects of smoking. In fact, it has a dilatory effect. It dilates or widens bronchial passageways and the whole cardiopulmonary system. And so we would recommend vaporization, and for pain specifically, eating cannabis. For pain, it's not really the THC that's the main active ingredient. It's CBD, or cannabidiol. And you can get cannabidiol in bigger doses that last longer when you eat cannabis. In fact, eating cannabis is effective for 6 to 8 hours, where inhalation through smoking or vaporization is only effective for 2 to 4 hours. So not only will you have a longer lasting effect by eating it, it'll also help more with the pain.
Okay, great, thank you.
You're welcome.
I think it helps with the circulation too, Paul, because I've noticed almost by accident, if I eat a heavily laden marijuana cookie before I go to bed, when it hits your stomach, I get flushed and nice and warm. My feet get warm. It's that dilation.
It increases the circulation.
Your fingers get warm. For people with poor circulation, a good strong cookie at night will help.
Yeah, and I recommend taking cannabis at least 3 times a day for patients who have chronic pain, so that they have a constant level of CBD. And the patients who don't want to get the high associated with marijuana or the flowering tops can use the leaves, because CBD is found throughout the plant, where THC is mainly in the flowers. It's highly concentrated in the flowers. Now, the flowers are really expensive. They're more than gold. But the leaf, most of those growers just throw that stuff away. Yeah. And so patients can use that leaf, or they can use vaporized cannabis and get a big dose of CHD when ingested or taken orally. Do you think I was accurate on that, doctor? You're the heart surgeon.
Well, I was interested in your comments, Paul. I think maybe you could be a cardiologist. And
no, I'm not me.
Just a few comments about smoking. I think it would be inappropriate for individuals who have coronary artery disease to use cannabis via inhalation. I think it would be best to eat it or to perhaps use the vaporizer. But I am constantly outraged by the fact that we can go down to the corner drugstore here and buy a pack of cigarettes, which is far more lethal, both to those people with cardiac problems and young people who may develop cardiac problems. And yet we cannot go down and get cannabis for medicinal purposes. it flies in the face of reason, and we all know what the bottom line is. It's the same kind of bottom line that we find over in the Middle East called oil, and here it's called tobacco, and it's all money. And it's very, very upsetting for me to see this to persist in the land of the free and the home of the brave.
You know what I've been saying for years, and it's getting out there more and more, and I'm hearing it come back in various ways, and the idea is spreading, is that marijuana prohibition is not about drugs, and it's not about marijuana. Marijuana prohibition is all about money and the continued centralization of economic and political control. And it's that economic and political control that led me to see the evils of marijuana prohibition at a relatively young age and to fight against it and to dedicate my adult working life to that and to this formation of this foundation and nonprofit. And it's evil. It's taking God's most productive plan in terms of the production of fiber, oil, and food and protein, and outlawing it to benefit the petrochemical industry.
Absolutely.
And the petrochemical industry includes the pharmaceutical industry in my book. So I'm glad you brought that up. Mm-hmm. We have a caller. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hey, Paul.
Hey.
I just have a quick question. I was at the doctor a little while ago, and I apparently have some chronic severe pain issues in my knee, and I have just been recently diagnosed with arthritis, and it was prescribed some naproxen and then some capsaicin for ointment rubbing of the knees. And my couple quick questions about that would be, is cannabis use prescribed for knee pain and arthritis and swelling and aching, and is there any kind of cannabis ointment that I could perhaps use to spread on the knee or the ache or the joints or anything like that? I'm just wondering because I want to come down and want to.
And yes, there is topical cannabis that will provide relief, and in fact in New Mexico they just legalized solely topical application to spread on your skin. It's still illegal in New Mexico to use medical marijuana for inhalation or for ingestion, but under New Mexico's new law you can use cannabis for topical application. But your license has to be renewed in New Mexico every 90 days or 4 times a year, so it's kind of a involved process there. But it's very useful for that. I am a disabled veteran from an injury to my knee, and I find it useful for that, and it can help.
Okay, so you suggest I come down and apply for a card?
Yeah, you can either approach your own doctor about it, or we have doctors in a referral service, and that's a thanks for your call. You were our last call this evening. We're going to segue into a pitch here based on your call. Thank you. We have doctors across the West who are ready to help you get a medical marijuana permit. If you live in the state of Oregon, Washington State, California, Hawaii, Colorado, and coming soon to Nevada, then we have doctors who can help you. So in the Portland area, we have a doctor referral service. You can call us at 503-235-4606. That's 503-235-4606. If you're up in the Seattle area, we have a Seattle number, and it is 206-878-1701. Popped up right on your screen there. It's 206-878-1701. And if you live in Denver and you're watching this show in Denver, then you can call us at 303-403-9996. That's 303-403-9996. And if you live outside of these major western metropolitan areas, then you can call us at our toll-free number, and we can help you throughout the western United States. Call us at 1-800-723-0188. That's 1-800-723-0188. I'm going to get camera 2 there, Sylvia, to close in on the boxes here again, because I just wanted to talk a little bit more about this hemp milk. It's so tasty. I just opened up this thing and drank this chocolate milk. It's really good, and the writing on the back of the box is inspirational too. First of all, it goes on that hemp seeds are one of the plant kingdom's most complete sources of protein. This small hemp seed is packed with all 10 essential amino acids and important vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants that the body requires for life. Each serving contains 0.9 grams of omega-3, contains 2.8 grams of omega-6 with gamma-linolenic acid, or GLA, and all 10 essential amino acids, 4 grams of protein, the essential vitamins A, B12, D, E, riboflavin, and folic acid, the essential minerals magnesium, potassium, phosphorus, iron, and zinc, and 40% of the recommended daily allowance of calcium right here in hemp milk. So it's good. It doesn't have those some of the bad things soy milk has. So I think it is a wonderful little drink, and I can say, it's tasty too. You know, we have classes, and if you are a medical marijuana patient, you want to come to our classes and learn how to grow. We have advanced growing classes and beginning growing classes and how to make medical grade hashish. So, Don, you've even helped us with those classes here at times. And so if you need help on any of those things, give us a call. We've got them already going here in Portland. They're going to be starting real soon in both Denver and Seattle, too. So stay tuned. Well, it's been another perfectly great hour that you've spent with us. And we're closing up here. Is there anything you'd like to say in closing, Don?
I want to know, my friends in Seattle, when can they watch the show, Paul?
It's on Channel 77 every Friday night at midnight.
Friday night at midnight.
Yeah, at Channel 77 every Friday night at midnight.
We have friends in Seattle.
Yeah. Is there anything you'd like to say in closing, Doctor?
How much time will you give me, Paul?
As much as you want. Go right ahead. We got a couple minutes.
Famous American author by the name of Paul Bowles lived most of his life in Tangiers, wrote a great novel called Sheltering Sky, one of my favorites. And it turns out that he wrote this novel under the influence of hashish. And if there was ever an enticement for me to start to use it, and if I could write like him, I would start hashish.
And I can tell you hashish is good. Well, I want to thank you for watching. We're going to go out with the wonderful tunes of Mr. Tim Pate and the images from the THCF Medicinal Gardens. Thanks for watching our show. Tune in next week and help us restore hemp. Good night.
Hi, Ramona.
Good night, folks. Happy 420.